The city of Rajagaya was alive with activity, its streets bustling with merchants, farmers, and visitors from distant lands. Among them was Dhanapati, a wealthy merchant, celebrated for his success and known for his luxurious lifestyle. His home was adorned with golden ornaments, and his chariots shone brightly under the sun. Yet, despite his wealth, Dhanapati felt a deep emptiness within, a yearning for something beyond material success. One day, news spread that the Buddha would visit Rajagaya, drawing people from every corner of the city. Curious about the teachings, Dhanapati decided to attend the Buddha's discourse. Seeking answers to his inner turmoil, the crowd gathered under the shade of tall trees, their eyes fixed on the serene figure of the Buddha. The Buddha spoke with a gentle voice that carried wisdom and peace to everyone present. Success, as many perceive it, is fleeting and tied to impermanent things, he began, his gaze soft yet penetrating. Gold, jewels, and possessions offer comfort but cannot shield one from the suffering caused by attachment and impermanence. Dhanapati listened attentively, his mind captivated by the profound simplicity of the Buddha's words. True success lies in the heart free of attachment, where liberation allows peace to flourish, the Buddha continued. What binds the heart is not the possession itself but the desire and identity forged from it. After the discourse, Dhanapati approached the Buddha, bowing respectfully before asking, "Master, my wealth brings admiration, yet I feel unfulfilled. How may I achieve this peace you describe?" The Buddha looked at Dhanapati, his face radiating compassion. "Begin by giving freely, not to glorify yourself but to ease the burdens of those around you." Dhanapati nodded, pondering the meaning of giving without attachment or pride. "But Master," he asked hesitantly, "how do I overcome this attachment and the identity built upon success?" The Buddha replied, "Attachment arises when one sees the self in what one owns, creating chains that bind the heart's freedom. Detach not by force but by recognizing the impermanence of all things. What you hold now will someday return to dust." The merchant felt the weight of these words and knew he must embark on a journey beyond the material. "Does this mean abandoning everything I own?" Dhanapati asked, seeking clarity. The Buddha responded, "Detachment is not about forsaking possessions but about releasing the grasp they have on your soul. Use your wealth wisely, to heal wounds, to nurture growth, and to uplift others. In giving, find the joy of liberation." Over the following months, Dhanapati embraced the Buddha's teachings, beginning to share his wealth generously. At first, his actions felt forced, a duty performed more than a heartfelt gesture. Yet with time, as he witnessed the smiles and relief of those he helped, his heart softened. Dhanapati gradually realized that his wealth was not the source of his identity but a tool to bring light into the lives of others. He donated food to the hungry, built shelters for the homeless, and provided resources for those in need. Each act of giving lifted a burden from his spirit, teaching him the impermanence of success defined by possessions. The Buddha revisited Rajagaya, and Dhanapati sought his wisdom once again. "Master, I have followed your teachings, yet I still feel traces of pride in my heart." The Buddha smiled gently, understanding the merchant's struggle. Pride is rooted in the ego, in the need to be seen and acknowledged. Reflect on this deeply. Let your acts be as silent as the morning dew, nurturing life without expectation of recognition or reward. Dhanapati took these words to heart, continuing his journey of self-liberation through mindful practice. He found solace in simple acts, letting go of the need to be praised or admired. With time, his heart grew lighter, and his sense of fulfillment deepened. Unattached to wealth or pride, the merchant came to understand that true success is not in accumulation or acknowledgement but in the freedom to give without attachment. His home, once adorned with golden ornaments, became simpler, reflecting his inner transformation. When visitors praised his generosity, Dhanapati responded humbly, "The joy lies not in wealth but in the peace it can bring when shared." Word of Dhanapati's transformation spread across Rajagaya, inspiring others to rethink their own definitions of success. People began to embrace acts of kindness and generosity, creating a ripple effect of compassion throughout the city. The Buddha's teachings resonated deeply, reminding all who heard them that freedom lies in the heart unbound by desire. As Dhanapati sat in his garden one evening, watching the sun set over the hills, he felt a profound sense of peace. The emptiness that had once haunted him was replaced by a quiet joy, a connection to something greater than himself. He realized that success, as taught by the Buddha, was not a destination but a journey of liberation and mindfulness. Reflecting on his path, Dhanapati whispered to the wind, "Thank you, Master, for guiding me to see beyond the illusion of success." The Buddha's wisdom continued to echo in his heart, reminding him that the essence of life is not in holding but in releasing. Another day, the sun rose above the forests of Kosala, casting golden light over fields, rivers, and palatial structures. Prince Virupa stood on the balcony of his palace, gazing at the lands he would soon govern. His heart burned with ambition, a desire not just to rule but to conquer and leave a legacy. Word reached him that the Buddha was nearby, known for his teachings of wisdom and enlightenment. Intrigued, Virupa resolved to meet the enlightened master and seek guidance for achieving greatness. Riding through the village paths, he reached the serene grove where the Buddha sat among his disciples. The prince dismounted his horse, bowing respectfully before addressing the sage. "Master, I desire wisdom to become a ruler revered through the ages." Buddha looked at Virupa, his presence calm yet deeply commanding. "Prince, the echoes of history fade quickly, for time erases even the greatest names." Virupa furrowed his brow, confusion stirring within him. Should one not aspire to greatness and leave an indelible mark? The Buddha smiled gently. "Aspiration is noble, but ambition tied to self-serving glory binds the soul like chains of iron. A ruler who desires power is like a bird longing to fly while tied firmly to the earth below." The prince stood silently, pondering the depth of the metaphor. "But should I not seek success for the sake of my people and my kingdom's prosperity?" Buddha nodded slightly, his voice unwavering. "Indeed, leadership is a duty that cannot be forsaken, but it must be carried with wisdom, humility, and compassion. Greatness is not found in the lands you conquer or the riches you gather, but in the well-being of your people. Lead not with the desire to be remembered but with the aim to serve the lives under your rule." Virupa remained thoughtful, his ambitions challenged yet his understanding beginning to deepen. "Master, how may I lead without attachment to power or recognition? For it drives me forward," he admitted sincerely. Buddha replied with clarity, "Detachment is not abandoning effort but releasing the ego's grasp on the outcomes of action. The self seeks validation through control and conquest, but true leadership is in surrendering to the needs of the governed. Power gained for pride and fame is fleeting. Power offered to uplift others becomes eternal in the peace it brings." The prince listened intently, his ambition being reshaped by the wisdom imparted to him. "Master, you speak of eternal peace, yet does it not conflict with my earthly duties?" Buddha's gaze softened. "Earthly duties, done with mindfulness and compassion, align with the eternal peace one seeks in the journey of life. Act not from the greed of recognition but from the heart of service, for therein lies the true greatness of a ruler. Success is not in the throne you sit upon but in the hearts of those who rejoice in your fair rule." Returning to the palace, Virupa decided to test the Buddha's teachings within his kingdom. He attended court sessions with renewed focus. Listening to the grievances of his people, the prince began implementing policies aimed at uplifting the most vulnerable rather than expanding his dominion. Over time, he grew to understand the importance of leading with humility and compassion. His heart, once ablaze with ambition for conquest, turned toward nurturing prosperity for all. The prince found fulfillment not in his name being sung in songs but in the smiles of his people. The Buddha revisited Kosala, and Virupa sought him once more, grateful for the transformation the teachings had inspired. Master, I have ruled with humility and care, yet moments of pride still creep into my thoughts. Buddha's response was steady and wise. Pride is the shadow of the self clinging to validation. Release the need to prove oneself. For the truest validation comes in the quiet satisfaction of a heart well served. Lead like the river that nurtures life without seeking praise, flowing humbly while uplifting all who depend on it. Virupa found himself humbled by these words. Committing to further refinement of his leadership principles, he continued ruling with compassion, striving to bring peace and equity to his people. His name, though spoken fondly among villagers, became less important to him than the flourishing of his kingdom. As the seasons passed, Kosala thrived under Virupa's reign, its people living harmoniously with the environment and one another. The prince understood deeply that true success is not measured in monuments but in the joy and dignity of his citizens. One evening, as he stood beneath the stars, Virupa reflected on his journey. His ambitions, once driven by ego, had been transformed into a noble aspiration to serve without attachment. The teachings of the Buddha had guided him to redefine his notion of greatness and success. Whispering to the night sky, he expressed his gratitude. "Thank you, Master, for showing me the path to liberate my heart." The Buddha's wisdom echoed within him, lighting his way as he walked the path of compassionate leadership. Another day, the village streets bustled quietly as artisans and farmers continued their routines, crafting, working, and tending the fields. Mati, a skilled potter, sat in his workshop, shaping clay with focused hands. Yearning for perfection, his pots, admired for their beauty, caused him anguish as even the slightest flaw felt like failure. News reached Mati that the Buddha was visiting the village, inspiring curiosity in those seeking wisdom. Carrying one of his pots, Mati joined the crowd that gathered under the banyan tree where Buddha sat serenely. The potter bowed before the Buddha, his voice trembling as he spoke. "Master, I am tormented by my inability to achieve perfection in my work." The Buddha gazed at Mati, his expression filled with understanding and compassion. "Perfection, as the mind conceives it, is an illusion that binds the heart in suffering," he began. Mati listened, his heart heavy but his mind absorbing the depth of the Buddha's wisdom. Each creation bears the essence of impermanence, reflecting life's transient nature, and thus holds its own beauty. "But Master," Mati interrupted, "how can I strive without chasing perfection? For it defines the value of my craft?" Buddha responded gently, "Strive, not to meet an ideal, but to express your heart through the act itself. Free from the ego's grasp, let your work be a meditation, an extension of your being, not a measure of your worth or success." Mati's hands trembled as he held the pot before the Buddha, revealing its subtle imperfections. "Is this flawed work still worthy of admiration?" he asked. The Buddha touched the surface of the pot, tracing its lines with his fingers. "This pot carries the mark of your effort and dedication, making it beautiful beyond mere appearance. Embrace the imperfections as echoes of impermanence. For nothing in this world remains perfect or unchanging," the Buddha continued. Mati stood still, absorbing the profound truth behind these words. the weight of his torment beginning to lift. But Master, how do I detach myself from this need for approval and validation? Mahdi asked sincerely. The Buddha replied with clarity. Approval comes from the ego's desire to be seen and celebrated, chaining the heart to the pursuit of recognition. Create not to seek validation but to nurture your inner peace, letting the act itself become the reward, he advised. Mahdi found himself humbled by these words. Resolving to change his approach to his craft, returning to his workshop, the potter began to create pots with mindfulness and care, letting go of his need for perfection. With each creation, he found joy in the process rather than despair in the outcome. Embracing imperfections, the flaws he once despised became symbols of his growth and the transient nature of life. Weeks passed, and Mahdi revisited the Buddha to share his progress and seek further guidance. Master, I have embraced imperfection, yet moments of frustration still arise within me. Buddha smiled gently, his voice steady and wise. Frustration stems from the mind's resistance to accept what is. Clinging to expectations, let your practice be as fluid as the river, flowing freely around obstacles while nurturing all in its path, he explained. Mahdi nodded, deeply moved by the wisdom imparted to him. Committing himself to further mindfulness, he continued crafting with renewed peace, his workshop becoming a sanctuary of meditation and creativity. Visitors admired Mahdi's work, not for its perfection but for the essence of life it carried in its imperfections. The potter found fulfillment not in the applause of others but in the quiet satisfaction of his mindful effort. One evening, he sat by the river, watching its waters shimmer under the moonlight, reflecting on his journey. Mahdi whispered to the stars, "Thank you, Master, for teaching me to release the chains of perfection." The Buddha's teachings echoed in his heart, guiding him to walk the path of peace and non-attachment. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.